Bando Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai
Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Just press God again. Shri Shukshastaka. Does someone want to put it on the screen? Who's our host? Are you Ganapati Govind? Thank you.
Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Baba Mahadavadni Vapanam Shreya Karnava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buri Vardhanam Pratipadam Punamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Tatrapita niyamita smarani nakala atadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva midrisha mihajani naruraga.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
Srinarapi sunitena tarorapi sahisuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari.
Someone else?
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Nadanam nadanam nasundarim kavitam bhajagadis kamaye mama janmani janmaneshware bhavatad bhaktiya haituki trayi.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
Ayinanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tava pada pankaja stita duvi sadrusham chintaya.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
Nayanam galar asharaya vadanam gagara udaya gira pulakai nichitam vapokada tavanama grane bhavishyati.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravishayitam sunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Somebody?
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
Asishya pagalatam panaskumam adarshanam mama hatam karotu va yata tata va vidaham talam pato mat prana natastu saevana para.
I know
Good, good.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. All glories to Sri Chaitanya.
Shri Shikshastika ki
Jai.
Right.
Does everyone remember where we left off? The many forms of the Lord.
I think it would be better. Does anyone remember where he left off?
How they're recognized and named according to the position of the symbols,
Yes.
starting with
Starting with what? Starting with which arm?
The lower right
going where?
to the upper right,
And
then
then,
the upper left, then the lower left.
right.
Well, I was hoping you'd make a mistake there so I could correct you, but you didn't do it.
That's right. That's good.
Okay, so it's interesting where we're starting from. Where it says we can conclude, so we're starting at the conclusion, but we can conclude that there is no end to the expansions and incarnations of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya described some of them to Sanatan just to give him an idea of how the Lord expands and how he enjoys. These conclusions are confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.26. There it is said that there is no limit to the incarnations of the Supreme Lord, just that there is no limit to the waves of the ocean. Of course, there is a limit to the different names of Vishnu, because you have the four objects. So I think it's 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, which I believe that would be the way to figure out how many. So that's of course limited to where they can have their form, their items in their hands. That is limited, but there's so many incarnations. There's unlimited incarnations. He comes with so many. We don't know even all the incarnations. We just know some of them. You know, there's the Shringa, Varaha, Vamana. There's so many incarnations. But then there's also these other Vishnu incarnations. So Krishna first incarnates as the 3 Purusha avatars, namely the Mahavishnu, the Karanadakshayi Vishnu avatar, and the Garbhadakshayi avatar and Kshirodakshai avatar. So Mahavishnu or Karanadakshayi Vishnu is another name for Mahavishnu. The Garbhadakshayi Vishnu and Kshirodakshai Vishnu. This is confirmed in the Sattvata Tantra. Krishna's energies can also be divided into 3. His energy of thinking, his energy of feeling, and his energy of acting. When he exhibits his thinking energy, he is the Supreme Lord. When he exhibits his feeling energy, he is Lord Vasudeva. And when he exhibits his acting energy, he is Sankarshan Balaram. Hey, Jiva, maybe you can explain that.
Yeah, right.
We can't even see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go on to the next.
Say that again.
We'll go on to the next. I mean, I really don't remember hearing this before. That we understand these. There's, let's see. The first part we know, Krishna's first incarnation as the three Purusha avatars, namely Mahavishnu or Karanadakshay avatar. So we know Karanadakshay, Garbhadakshay, and Kshiradakshay. Karanadakshay is the you could say this huge form in one corner of the spiritual world. He's lying down and on Sheshanag, and from his pores, when he breathes out, all the universes come out. And then when he breathes in, all the universes go in. And it said, I was in a class once by this one devotee who knew Sanskrit, and this was actually in Massachusetts, at the end of Massachusetts at that point, Cape Cod. It was in a Cape Cod jail. We all got arrested for selling Prabhupada's books, and we were all in jail. There was a few parties, probably about 3 van parties, so probably around 12 devotees. And he explained at that time, I haven't read it since, but he read a lot of books. Actually, he read too many books. Prabhupada said that was his problem. But he said that this universe was the last universe that came out of Mahavishnu, and it was the smallest universe. And the smallest we can understand because there is some things in the scriptures that talk about when Brahma came to see, I think it's in the Nectar Devotion, when Lord Brahma came to see Krishna, and Krishna said, who's there? And they said, Brahma. So then he asked the servant, find out which Brahma it is. And Brahma thought, thinking, what do you mean, which Brahma? I'm the only Brahma. So when he came to see Krishna, he was talking to Krishna, and then he asked Krishna, why? I don't understand why you said, which Brahma is it? Aren't I the only Brahma? And he said, no, in every universe there's a Brahma. And he called all the Brahmas from the different universes. And our Lord Brahma has 4 heads, and some of them had 10 heads, 100 heads, 1,000 heads, 10,000 heads. And then Brahma, he felt like a mosquito in the midst of elephants. So that indicates, that according to the size of the universe, you might need more heads. So he only needs 4 heads. It's a small universe. But in any case, that's when he breathes out in one breath of Mahavishnu, and he breathes in, all the universes go back in. So that's the time of the whole universe. Now there's Brahma lives for hundreds of thousands or millions of years, billions, trillions of years. And that's all just one breath of Mahavishnu or Karanadakshay Vishnu. And then Garbhadakshay Vishnu is in each universe. He also appears at the bottom of the universe in the Garbhadakshay or the Garbhadakshay ocean. Garbhadakshay or Garbha ocean. But at the bottom of this universe, it's half full with water. And lying on Sheshanag is Garbhadakshay Vishnu or Garbhadakshay avatar. And from him, a navel sprouts from his a lotus sprouts from his navel. Not a navel sprouts from his lotus. And on top of that lotus is Brahma. And he creates the whole universe, all the different planets. He's like an engineer of this universe. And everything works really fine. But the gopis criticized him as not being a very good creator because you had to blink. Your eyes have to blink. And for that moment of blinking, they can't see Krishna. And that was just so disturbing. That moment it says a moment seems like 12 years or more. So they criticized Brahma that he didn't do a very good job of creating because he made us blink and we can't see Krishna. So then after that is Kshira Daksha Vishnu, who is he is in every atom, he's between every atom, he's in everyone's heart. So these are the first three expansions. You say something?
Well, I think she was addressing the point of Krishna's thinking, feeling, and willing. Is that what you were questioning?
No, I know that. That's why I'm letting you do the next part.
Oh. So everything becomes manifest
Well, we can
from
finish
these.
reading here. This is confirmed.
This is confirmed in the Satvata Tantra. Krishna's energies can also be divided into three. His energy of thinking, his energy of feeling, and his energy of acting. When he exhibits his thinking energy, he is the Supreme Lord. When he exhibits his feeling energy, he is Lord Vasudeva. And when he exhibits his acting energy, he is Sankarshan Balaram. I'm hoping that this is explained as we go on.
Well, we do know when Prabhupada talks about thinking, feeling, and willing. And that's in the mind. We begin with thinking. And in the thinking state, if we're thinking of some nonsense, you can stop. But then there's the feeling state. And when you really feel like doing it, it's already going to be too late to stop. Then there's the actual doing. You're feeling willing, and you're willing, you're doing it. So you can control your mind in the thinking stage. But once you start thinking about it, even in the Bhagavad Gita, by contemplating the objects of the senses. So you start contemplating them, and then you become attached. Once you're attached, it's too late. You're going to fall down, or you're going to do whatever it is you wanted to do. So that's pertaining to us. But now here we have thinking, feeling, and willing of different incarnations.
When the Lord thinks, things are put into motion.
Right.
His thinking manifests things.
Right.
All he has to do is think, and it
Right.
happens.
Yeah.
Whereas we have to go a little above and beyond that. Just a little bit. Without the Lord's thinking, feeling, and acting, there would be no possibility of creation. Although there is no creation in the spiritual world, as there is in the material world, both worlds are manifestations of Krishna's energy of acting. We hear that it comes about by Lord Balaram. He manifests the Dham, he manifests the Lord's paraphernalia, and also the material world comes about from Sankarshan Balaram. Although there is no creation in the spiritual world as there is in the material world, both worlds are manifestations of Krishna's energy of acting, which he carries out in the form of Sankarshan Balaram. The spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planets, and Krishna Loka is situated in Krishna's energy of thinking. Although there is no creation in the spiritual world, which is eternal, it is still to be understood that the spiritual planets depend on the thinking energy of the Supreme Lord. This thinking energy is described in the Brahma Samhita 5.2, where it is said, the supreme abode known as Goloka is manifested like a lotus flower with hundreds of petals. Everything there is manifested by Ananta, who is a form of Balaram or Sankarshan. The material cosmic manifestation and its different universes are manifested through Maya, or the material energy. But one should not think that the material energy or material nature is the cause of the cosmic manifestation. Rather, it is caused by the Supreme Lord, who uses his different expansions to act through material nature. In other words, there is no possibility of any creation without the superintendence of the Supreme Lord. The form of the Lord who causes the energy of material nature to bring about creation is Sankarshan. And it is to be understood that this cosmic manifestation is created when the material nature comes in contact with the superintendent energy of the Supreme Lord, Sankarshan. The example is given of iron becoming hot in contact with fire, and when red hot, acting just like fire. I guess it's like the original candle also. Eko Bahu Sham. Krishna is one, but he manifests in many for creation, for maintenance, for dissolution, for everything. And the Brahma Samhita is a description of the spiritual world. Lord Brahma, after his 1,000-year meditation in his years, he heard the tapa. I heard the tapa before, and then he meditated.
Right.
Yeah, he heard tapa, and then he meditated for 1,000 years. But by dint of his tapa, the spiritual world was revealed to him. He saw how it's manifest like a lotus. It says here, like hundreds of petals. Everything's manifesting, and it's all being manifested from Ananta, Balaram, or Sankarshan, who facilitates the Lord's Leela. And after seeing this, the spiritual world, the Lord Brahma offered these beautiful prayers, the Brahma Samhita, which we are invited to recite as a daily function. It says something like that in the Bhakti Siddhanta, is inviting us to read it as a daily function. I don't know.
Moving right along,
Yeah.
in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:46-31, it is said that Balaram and Krishna are the origin of all living entities, and that these two personalities enter into everything. A list of incarnations is given in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:3, and they are as follows: 1, the Kumaras; 2, Narada; 3, Varaha; 4, Matsya; 5, Yagya; 6, Narayan; 7, Kadami, Kapila. Kadami,
I think it
Kapila.
was Pradama.
Yeah, I think it's Kadama. Maybe it's a mistake. It says Kadama, Kapila. 8 is Dattatreya. 9, Hayashirsha. 10, Hamsa. 11, Dhruva Priya or Krishnagarbha. 12, Rishabha. 13, Ritu. 14, Nrsinga. 15, Kurma, 16, Dhanvantari, 17 Mohini, 18 Vamana, 19 Bhagava was Parashuram, 20 Raghavindra, 21 Vyas, 22 Palambari Balaram, 23 Krishna, 24 Buddha, and 25 Kalki. Because almost all of these 25 Leela avatars appear in one day of Brahma, which is called a Kalpa. They are sometimes called Kalpa avatars. Out of these incarnations, Hamsa and Mohini are not permanent, but Kapila, Dattatreya, Rishabh, Dhanvantari, and Vyas are 5 eternal forms, and they are more celebrated. Kurma, the tortoise incarnation, Matsya, the fish, Narnarayan, Varaha, the boar, Hayashirsha, Krishnagarbha, and Balaram are considered incarnations of Vaibhava. Similarly, there are 3 guna avatars or incarnations of the qualities, of the qualitative modes of nature. And these are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. There are 14 Manvantara avatars: Yajna, Vibhu, Satyasen, Hari, Vaikunta, Ajita, Vamana, Sava, Bauma, Rishabh, Vishvakshena, Dharma Setu, Sudharma, Yogeshwara, and Brihad Bhanu. Out of these 14 Manvantara avatars, Yajna and Vamana are also Leela avatars. The Manvantara avatars are also known as Vaibhava avatars. So there you have it.
I heard that the Lord incarnates in every species. You heard that?
Yes.
Yeah. But the ones that are listed are more prominent incarnations.
It's also, even if we don't understand all of this, it's purifying. I just read recently with Sanskrit, Prabhu says you like hearing the Sanskrit, even though you don't understand, because it's purifying.
Mhm.
So the 4 Yuga avatars are also described in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Satya Yuga, the incarnation of God is, anybody know what color? If you're not reading-
White.
Who said white? Shurabhakti.
I said.
Correct. Okay, this is for those who are not reading it. Did you read it or you just remembered it?
I remembered it.
Very good. Okay, in the Treta Yuga, what color is it?
Red.
Yes. Dwapara Yuga,
Black.
and who could that be?
Krishna.
And in Kali Yuga,
Yellow.
yeah, here it says he is also blackish, but sometimes in a specific Kali Yuga, his color is yellowish, as in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As far as the Satyavesh avatars, Shaktivesh avatars are concerned, they include Kapila, Rishabh, Ananta, Brahma, although sometimes the Lord himself becomes Brahma, Chaturshana, which are the Kumaras, who are incarnations of knowledge, Narada, the incarnation of devotional service. Boy, that's a nice incarnation. King Prithu, the incarnation of administrative power. And Parashuram, the incarnation who subdues evil principles. Parashuram, he comes with his, is it an axe or
Oh, yeah.
comes to an axe and kills the Kshatriyas who are not obedient to the Lord. And he killed like 21 generations.
And that's when they fled to all different parts of the world. Right?
Right.
And therefore we have some remnants in different parts of the world. Prabhupada mentions it in the Bhagavatam. Do you know where that verse is?
No.
Kirata Hunna.
Oh, one of the Ranjana Swami's first verses he quoted a lot.
Yeah, yeah. But it's an interesting verse. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But it explains, how the Greeks and the Hunna or the Hungarian people, and how they can all become devotees, no matter where one is born. One can become a devotee of the Lord. It's not based on the external, anything external.
I was thinking of something I read today where some devotee was, he likes to do everything exactly a certain way. And I don't know. I didn't read this at all about the particular devotee, but someone was quoting something that he said about Srila Prabhupada, that he at a certain time, and he was weak and couldn't deal with certain things. So that's why something is different. They were criticizing Prabhupada somehow, because this devotee follows everything like according to the Vedas. And then someone else made a comment that if he wants, bona fide guru, if he wants somebody that follows everything exactly right, then he should find someone else besides Srila Prabhupada if he's thinking like this. And then the person said, but he can't do that because he's not an Indian. So how can a guru that just accepts everything according to whether the scriptures, may not accept or will not accept the Westerners. Of course, we know the real bona fide gurus accept anybody from any class, any denomination, but not based on their body, but based on their sincerity. So that's the most important thing. And people also criticize, or maybe not so much criticize, but are against the rule in Orissa, where you have to be Indian to go into the temple. And if you're not, you can't go in. Whereas so many Indians are doing so many terrible things that they're allowed in the temple because they're Indian. It just doesn't make any sense. And somebody else who's not Indian, who's following all the different rules and regulations, is not allowed in because he's not Indian, based on the body. So of course, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy and by Bhaktisiddhanta's mercy, who was so scholarly, they can understand that anyone can become a devotee of the Lord, not based on the body. So I don't know how I got into that, because of the Kshatriyas who traveled all over, and still they were deviant, but then their descendants could also become devotees.
So what are the people from America then?
They're pure.
Well, they came from England, right? I mean,
They came from everywhere.
Like a mutt,
Yeah.
it's mixed.
I mean, America is everybody, and they had different times. People came to America.
Right.
At certain
All
years,
over, yeah.
Italian, certain years Irish.
Irish. But originally from England, right?
Originally, they were Indians.
No, I meant who came here.
Yeah, well, they had to come from somewhere too. Who knows? Or they're just born here. I don't know where they came from. But England was the main,
Spain.
yes, definitely English.
So that's the end of this chapter. I don't know if there's any questions or
So,
would everybody like to?
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I have a question.
I'm sure everybody understands all of it and there's no question, so we can move on to the next chapter.
Kardami Kapila and Kapila seem to be different, right? They seem to be different avatars from this chapter.
Kardama Muni is the father of Kapila.
Oh, but it's Kardami Kapila is not listed in the Shaktiavesh avatar. He's listed as one of the avatars, whereas Kapila is listed in the Shaktiavesh avatars.
You're saying
If we-
Kapila is not listed as, or is?
Kardami Kapila is listed in the 25 avatars,
Well, they're saying, I think they're the same person.
but Kapila, just Kapila, is listed in the Shaktiavesh avatars. So they must be different.
Not necessarily. They can.
I actually Googled Kardami Kapila to see if it was this. And this devotee comes up. There is a famous artist devotee from Radha Desh whose name is Kardami
Well, there
Kapila.
you have it.
Where is he listed as Shaktivesh?
Just Kapila is listed under Shaktiavesh, I think. Let me see.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let me see. Yeah, but
oh,
Kapila.
as far as the Shaktiavesh avatars are concerned, they include Kapila, Rishabha, Ananta, Brahma. So he's listed in the Shaktiavesh avatars, Kapila, but in the 25 avatars,
What
original
page is
20.
that?
Huh?
What page is that?
That's the last paragraph in the chapter that you're reading.
Okay. Where is the Shaktivesh?
Yeah, so Kapila is listed there, but then Kardami Kapila is listed in the actual list of incarnations, the 25 list of incarnations.
That's the only
But that's a
Kapila we know.
mix, right?
What?
The list of incarnations, is that mixed?
You might be right, yeah, because Rishabha is listed in the Shaktiavesha also.
Yeah, yeah, that's a mix. And Buddha,
Yeah, Ananta
Also
and Brahma, but Ananta and Brahma are not listed in the 25 avatars. Yeah, I mean,
Kapila is the Kapila.
my understanding.
I don't know
But I'm just
any other
saying this-
Kapila. Prabhupada talks about another Kapila, people say, who came at a different time and.
oh yeah, that's the
That's
fake, the impersonalist Kapila.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that's the only other Kapila, and that's not a bona fide Kapila. So as far as we know, Prabhupada only talked about one Kapila.
This one is mixed.
What do you mean by mixed?
No, she's saying the 25 incarnations have a mix of Shakti Avesha, and
Oh, yeah.
but some of the Shakti Avesha are not listed in the 25.
Guess what the next chapter is called?
What?
The avatars. But for me, it's like the universal form. It's like really difficult to grasp, and it's just so.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even these unlimited forms of Godhead, I mean, it's so confusing.
And even how he's differently manifested for thinking, feeling, and willing or acting. I don't know. I don't fully understand that. I'd like to hear more about that.
Also, you can go back home, back to Godhead, by just chanting Hare Krishna, by just,
Thank God for that.
yeah, you really, but for certain people, they have a mind that they have to understand more, they have to hear more. So this can explain so much more than most of us really can't even grasp.
Some people are so good in our Chaitanya Charitamrita class from Laguna Beach. There is a devotee called Rasa Sindhu. He's so brilliant. Oh my God. He remembers like everything, all these avatars, all these sub avatars. I mean, he can give you, and he has put a chart together, and I think he belongs to some great family from Vrindavan, like one of those, the descendants, of the Thakur family. He comes from like descendants of actually Radharani priests or something like that. So he's so brilliant. He remembers everything. So you're right. Some people can remember all this
and understand it all. And some
right.
people, it's like, well, I don't really know, but I accept. But we just know Lord Chaitanya, that he's enough to bring us back home, back to Godhead.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
Lord Chaitanya is talking to Sanatan and Rupa, and these are gopis, intimate associates of Radharani. So they have some great capacity to understand all of this. They're not, they don't really have same type of a mind that we have. And I think maybe you shouldn't go out to Laguna Beach anymore.
Why is that? Trying to keep me away from the Panchatattva?
No, just away from the one devotee.
Oh, Rasa Sindhu. I think I remember now. I think he's from Barshana. He's brilliant. He's amazing. Even like all the other devotees from Laguna Beach, like can't remember things. I mean, and there are many smart people like Rupanuga Das, who's the temple president, court president. He's also a professor at some university. They all are pretty brilliant, but Rasa Sindhu remembers everything. He's very brilliant. And he comes from like one of those Radharani priestly families or something. He comes from a great family. He just took initiation from Vaisheshika Prabhu.
Nice, very nice.
So before he was known as Rasa Sindhu, now I forget his original name, his previous name.
Okay.
Well, according to Narottam Das Thakur, we just have to be eager to try to understand the books left by the Goswamis, and then the Krishna Yugala Pariti will be revealed to us, that the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna will be revealed. That Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hai Veya Kuti. That song?
Yeah.
Yeah. When will I be eager to understand the books left by the Goswamis? Then it'll be revealed to me the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And the books of the Goswami is what they heard from Lord Chaitanya. So if we can just somehow or other try to be eager to hear and understand this, maybe it'll be revealed to us. Maybe the understanding will come.
Yes, if Krishna wills, anything can be revealed to us. Yeah.
I mean, that's what power we have on our end, if we can't understand.
None.
Try. At least hear it and be purified by the transcendental sound vibration. These transcendental names are like that Kavacha. Ganapati Govind mentioned is like the Narayan Kavacha. By chanting all these different names when we're putting on tilak, the names of the months, we get purified just by reciting these names.
Yeah, I missed that class. That was in the last class, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that.
It's like putting on the armor. And sometimes Prabhupada translates it as a talisman. And that's a talisman is usually used for protection. It's got some magical property that, protects one from, the onslaughts of material nature. So we protect ourselves by hearing these names, by reciting them. Do what we can.
Well, we're going to start chapter 8. The avatars, Lord Chaitanya continued explaining to Sanatana Goswami about Lord Krishna's avatars or incarnations, which are his expansions who come to the material creation, so that we can understand. The word avatar means one who descends from the spiritual sky. So that's Prabhupada says that in a lot of places. So avatar is one who descends from the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and from these planets, the expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead come into this universe. The first descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the expansion of Sankarshan is the first Purusha incarnation. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 131 that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends as the first Purusha incarnation of the material creation, he immediately manifests 16 elementary energies. Known as Mahavishnu, he lies within the causal ocean, and it is he who is the original incarnation in the material world. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.6.42 states that he is the Lord of time, nature, cause and effect, mind, ego, the 5 physical elements, the 3 modes of nature, the senses, and the universal form. He is the independent master of all moving and non-moving living beings in the material world. So the first descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the expansion of Sankarshan is the first Purusha incarnation. That when the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends as the first Purusha incarnation of the material creation, immediately manifests 16 elementary energies. So what are those 16 elementary energies? They explain a lot of things here, but I think it's more than 16. It's the Lord of time, nature, cause and effect, mind, ego, that's 5. 5 physical elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, that's 10. The 3 modes of nature, that's 13. Then it says the senses and universal form. So the senses, yeah, so it's more if you count in each of the 5 senses. The universal form. He is the independent master of all moving and non-moving living beings in the material world.
And the universal form is all those together.
Even without the universal form. It's still more than 16 if you count 5 senses. Okay. The influence of material nature cannot reach beyond the viraja or causal ocean, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.10. So, of course, it can only go up to the outer coverings of the universe, the influence of material nature. Can't doesn't influence anything outside of the universe. Neither the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, nor material time have any influence on the Vaikuntha planets. On those planets, the liberated associates of Krishna live eternally, and they are worshipped by both the demigods and the demons. So the demons worship them. So what it says. So how do the demons worship them? Maybe we'll find out. Of course, we know how the demigods worship them. Material nature acts in 2 capacities as Maya and Pradhana. Maya is the direct cause, and Pradhana refers to the elements of the material manifestation. So Pradhana is like the whole soup, all the different elements that make up this material world. So when the first Purusha avatar, Mahavishnu, glances over material nature becomes agitated, and the Purusha avatar thus impregnates matter with the living entities. So I think we've heard that many times. The Lord glances over. It's basically it's all dead matter glances over, and the living entities are impregnated into the material world, and that's how life begins. It's not according to Darwin that, oh man, that's crazy how I can't even tell you how they think. Well, I remember when I went to school, which was a long, long time ago, we had to go to a class where we left our, this is in elementary school. I don't think it was even junior high school. I think it was elementary school, where we went to a room. They have a projector with the film, old film type thing. And we watched this movie of how everything began. And it all began, there was all the oceans, there was no life, everything was dead. But then lightning hit the ocean, and then life began.
Where did the lightning come from?
And as a kid, you just accept it. Where did how come it's not happening anymore? Lightning hits something and then life begins, or some electric charge. Of course, they did some fictional stuff like Frankenstein. They got some dead body, put it together, put lightning or electric, and then he became alive, but not in real life. It never happens. But somehow we accept it. So basically, it's what authority you accept. You accept the authority of the Vedas, or you accept the authority of the cheating material scientists. They may be cheating, they may be even innocent, thinking a certain way, but they don't know what they're talking about, how life began. So it began all at once. Everything was created, impregnated, and all of the different bodies were created from the very beginning. It's not like there was a one cell animal or something, and then from there it adopted, and there's just so many fallacies in Darwin's theory of evolution, how we evolve. I mean, in one sense, it's true, you evolve from one body to the next body to the next body, but that means the soul is changing bodies, going up, getting more sophisticated bodies as one progresses through the 8,400,000 species. But then once you come to the human form, then that's the junction where you can go back down into one of the different 8,400,000 species, or you can go to the spiritual world, you can go to higher planets, you can go to lower species. So it's a junction. And it's so important, and only in the human form can you do this. In other forms, you might also go back home, back to Godhead, but extremely rare. Like you eat some prasadam, and maybe right after that you die. Or there are the lion or tiger, the cow, the monkeys, or maybe apes. In their next life, they take birth as humans in different modes of nature, either goodness, passion, or ignorance. But other than them, all the other species, they just work their way up to the next species. Or if they take some prasadam, the next life they may become a human. And but other than getting some special mercy from devotees, the other species have to continue one species to the next, to the next, to the next, till they come to the human form. So material nature acts in two capacities, Maya and Pradhana. Maya is the direct cause, and Pradhana refers to the elements of the material manifestation. Oh. Did I finish this whole paragraph?
No.
Okay, let me finish this paragraph, or we could start on this paragraph next week. Okay.
Comments, questions,
Yeah.
illuminations.
Yeah. Any comments, questions, illuminations, deletions?
Revelations. Postulations.
We have a rapper amongst us.
Philosophical rap.
To do with all these incarnations.
I just wanted to make a comment about,
Good.
when you were explaining about how the they saw the movie, and you can hear me, right, Prabhu?
It's cutting out a little.
Oh, is it better now?
Maybe talk.
We hear you perfectly clear, but then it stops and then it starts again.
Try.
So explaining that you saw a movie or that how everything came about. I remember I was hearing a lecture. In the lecture, the speaker was explaining the atheistic story of the universe. So he summed it up in 3 sentences. He said the atheistic story of the universe is nothing existed because of nothing, nothing exploded because of nothing, and gave rise to everything.
Nothing existed because of nothing. What was the second one?
Nothing exploded because of nothing.
Exploded.
Oh, right.
And gave rise to everything. So basically his point was, how does it make any sense? If you like, what makes more sense is there was something that gave rise to everything, nothing giving rise to everything.
Right. From nothing came something. How did something come from nothing? Where do you ever see something coming from nothing? They work on the first premise, which is incorrect, and after that they build everything on that.
Prabhupada was really pleased with Hamsaduta when they were saying, the scientists were saying that he could create life, given the proper chemicals.
And this was in India.
And Hamsaduta challenged him that we'll provide the chemicals.
No, it was in the newspaper. It's true what you're saying, but it was in a newspaper. Some scientist said something. So Hamsaduta wrote back to the newspaper, basically saying this is bogus, this big professor saying this stuff. Okay, we'll supply these different amino acids and we'll give you so much money. He said he would give him so much money if he can make life from it. And the newspapers wrote that. And then there was a big thing going back and forth. And it's actually devotees said to Hansarupa that, how can you say that? We don't have that money. And he just said it anyway.
Yeah. He had faith that this scientist wouldn't be able to create life. But Prabhupada was really pleased with that.
The scientist, a big PhD.
Yeah.
Hansarupa didn't even graduate high school.
Hamsaduta.
Hamsaduta. Didn't even graduate high school. And Prabhupada definitely was real pleased that this whole big thing came in the Indian newspapers, and they were making a big deal of it, because they like controversy, And of course in America, nobody would think anything of it probably, but in India it was really a big challenge. And of course the guy didn't produce life, and Hansaduta didn't have to pay him anything.
Yep. But they're so short-sighted, like even in, I remember seeing that movie, Sound of Music, and in that there's a song like nothing comes from nothing, nothing ever could, but somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good. Can't go beyond youth and childhood of doing something good or bad. No such thing as a past life.
Yeah, well, I think it would have taken away from the movie.
Well, it was very Christian, it was based on Christianity.
Yeah. Okay, next week we're going to tell you more things. Hopefully that we understand better.
It's a really confusing sentence here.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you for attending.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome back, Itamala.
Oh, thank you. So good to be back.
You should give us a coming back party, Mataji.
I could barely walk after the flight.
We'll give you a week to recover from it.
Yeah, I think I do need a week at least to recover from it. I'm recognizing travel is not that easy, and going to California is really going halfway to India with the two
No,
flights. It felt like it with the two flights.
anyway, it's normally a 5-hour flight. In India is like a, what?
No, it was like almost a 3.5-hour flight to, from Dallas, and another
Well, because you
3.5
took
hours.
yeah, you could do it in 2 days probably if you really want to get the bad connections. But I'm just saying it's not halfway.
Yeah, if you have a direct flight, I have flown once direct, but that was the best flight, I think. But
Yeah, so in India, flying direct, how long does it take? 18 hours? Maybe 16. Whereas you only have 5. So maybe 1/3. Well, how
it's a
far
little
is
more
it?
than
It's 3,000 miles. How far is India?
9,000 miles, I think.
Do we have any Indians on this?
I think it's 9,000 miles.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
1/3. 1/3. It's a lot less.
Yeah, but with the connections, it did feel like pretty long.
Russ just came up from Florida. It took him 24 hours flying.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about bad connections.
Right.
So he's got you beat.
And in Dallas, my connection time was very short. I had to run like crazy, and it's a big airport. And with my mask, I've never run with my mask. I'm saying it was not pleasant trying to run with your mask.
He slept in the airport.
Yeah, he slept on the floor in the airport.
Really? Well, I didn't have to do any such thing.
And he told me, well, I'm austere. Anyway, we better go. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Pyari, Prabhu, and Jiva Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhujis and Matajis. We are going to have the Saturday night Kirtan. So if your time permits, we request you to stay on the line. And we have Pranath Govind Prabhuji and Tanmay Prabhuji for our Saturday night Kirtan tonight.
Ribo.
Oh, thank you.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Parshadane Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gauraktavindra Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gauraktavindra Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Harinam Sankirtanmaya ki jai Hare Krishna Prabhupada ki jai Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Ram Eva Kevala Kalo naste vanaste vanaste vagatiranyata Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Ram Eva Kevala Kalo naste vanaste vanaste vagatiranyata Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Ram Eva Kevala Kalornaste vanaste vanaste vagatiranyatha
श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय
जय His Pranad Govind Prabhu ji ki
जय
His grace Tanmay Prabhu ji
Tanmay
ki
जय
Jai.
हरि बोल थैंक यू प्रभु जी mesmerizing kirtan हरि बोल
Hari Bol.
Thank you very much everybody for joining us for our Saturday night kirtan. We will again meet you tomorrow morning. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna Kripasindu Bevacha. Patitan Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Sankirtan Yajna ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.